my friend. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me. I'm James Hands from Awaken Therapy, and I've just been pondering a lot since we just went through a cyclone weather event here, how challenging experiences, stressful things does force us to dig deep, to prepare, to respond, and over time it develops more confidence, more resilience. And so I've been pondering that and extrapolating that to the bigger picture. And of course, you're here, you've probably been through significant challenges in your life, no doubt, probably traumatic stuff, probably childhood stuff. And as you know, I'm a therapist. I'm 30 years in now working with amazing, amazing people. I have so much respect for amazing people who've been through so much, were born into huge challenges, were born into cyclones of abuse or neglect or whatever it might be. And what just fills me with awe and a respect, but something really profound comes up in me, working with wonderful people like yourself, because I realize that on a human level, while we judge all these things as negative, bad, shouldn't happen, on a soul level, it makes sense. On a soul level, it's like, well, we come into polarity, we come into this dense duality, this challenging environment on earth of light and dark and hot and cold and love and fear and good and evil. We come into this really intense environment, and on a soul level, well, that's where we're going to grow. That's where we're going to experience these extremes and the contrast, and all of that serves to wake up our conscious awareness. It's like a sharp stick prodding our consciousness into this wakeful awareness of what we like and what we don't like, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. It's where we develop our individuality. Our individuality is really an expression of that consciousness we have as a unique reflection, a unique portion of the oneness. And if we never had this challenge, if we never had the contrast, if we never had the traumatic stress and even the abuse and the horrific things that happen, if we didn't have that, well, we'd still be in that aspect of experience, which would be the feminine expression of the soul. It would be the oneness, the merging in the ocean of oneness. And that's lovely, and we love that unity and that peace and stillness. But if that's all we had, we were kind of half asleep in that. We're quite diffuse and just merged in the ocean. The drop of water doesn't know itself as separate to the ocean. And so we come into polarity, we come out into separation, like the prodigal son who left home and had all those experiences and got into a real mess, but came back home and was celebrated because they came back home so much more than if they'd never left. And that's a beautiful parable that tells us about our journey into the masculine expression of the soul, to go into separation, to come down into adversity, whatever those challenges might be. But I think we're ready for a broader perspective in our psychology around this. I think people are very ready to see their traumatic stress, their experiences, their complex post-traumatic stress, the abuse, even the worst of it, to see it in this bigger framework now. I think we're ready to see it on a more spiritual, soul level perspective, where we understand that we take this on. We take the adventure of incarnation. We take on a body and come into the, shit show of life, but for good reason. It's all purposeful. It's in that contrast. It's in that tension. It's in the extremes of that experience that we come to know ourselves as an individuated drop of the oneness ocean. We come to know ourselves as a unique expression of the divine. And eventually in our evolutionary process, merging between the individual and the oneness, we're gradually evolving into more and more perfection, more and more God consciousness. And that's what Divine Creator wants, is for us to join her as co-creators. And so how does that land for you? What does that make you think? Is that just appalling and offensive to think that, you chose these traumatic experiences, that there's something good in them? Or is it something that helps you process and move through and to ultimately let go and release all the wounding and traumatic stress that might be residual from those experiences, knowing that it's purposeful, knowing that all that experience has been the very stuff of your evolution, the very raw material of your growth as an evolving eternal soul. In my upcoming book, as you would know, talking about soul warrior level, as we go up the healing tree, this is up in the branches where we're bringing in this spiritual perspective. And in that spiritual perspective, we start to explore, okay, what are the purposes and reasons for traumatic experiences? And this just allows us, after we've done the raw material root work and the trunk understanding, psychology work and inner child work, we get to this level where we can really start to see it for what it is, to understand the purpose of it, to ultimately let go, to forgive, to release the last remaining bits of residue from that trauma. And we need to go to this soul level to be able to do this, to complete the healing. So how does that feel, to sit with that idea that what you've taken on, what you're experiencing, as hard as it's been, as brutally hard as it's been, has been purposeful. It is meaningful in the long run, that it's even soul chosen, it's even planned on a soul level, and that in the awareness of that and the understanding of that and the consideration of that, then perhaps there's room to, okay, I can be finished with this now because it was meant to happen. Hope that's useful, hope that's interesting. Please follow, like, subscribe, and any questions, any feedback, it's all welcome. Reach out if you have any questions or you need support in your healing journey. Absolutely committed to being here for each and every one of you.